right, so now we're ready to install the clutch and the pressure plate. Feel that pilot bearing one more time, make sure everything feels good. You need the special alignment tool. We're going to install that into the clutch like so. And then the clutch will be centered on the shaft like so. Okay, that's going to hold it centered. That way, when we put the pressure plate on it, we tighten the pressure plate up. This is acting like the input shaft of the transmission, and it'll align everything. So when we go to put the tranny in, everything will slide together. Remember, throw out bearing. And you're gonna look for the dowel pins next to the bolt holes. Hold this for a second. This tool that I'm using is pretty much, I made it into a universal one. It fits everything nice. However, this ball needs to pop out. If I put this one, yeah, it fits there. But it doesn't fit there. It doesn't fit there. Okay, so it can only go on one way with the dowel pins. Alright, and I need some bolts. Same thing. New bolts. I got blue Loctite on. Alright, just gonna run it down a little bit. Just feel it. Alright, now we're going to torque it down to spec. 19 foot-pounds. Again, I'll be using this. I already went through these. But, you know, just tighten them down evenly. Okay, time to put the transmission up in place. I'm going to try to capture this as good as I can for you. I know it's going to be a little difficult. Now remove our tool. It should come out fairly easy. This one fits the pilot bearing pretty tight, so I'm gonna take a little bit of pressure here to get it out. There it goes. But yeah, you should be able to slide it in with no problem. The input shaft, that's good. Everything's clean. I want the slide in. I got assembly lube. I want the slide in nice. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the bearing, a little bit on the splines. The fork gets slid in next. Make sure nothing's hitting. This shifter boot has to be square. We know that. Mm-hmm. The bell housing looks crooked, but so does the motor. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we're just going to keep on going straight up. Eventually I'm going to have to move you guys up front so you can get a better shot. Before you go too far, make sure you have this fork installed. Don't push it into place yet. Let me see I drop it. Make sure you have it in the bell housing. How's it looking on your side, guys? Looks like it's just too low in the back. We'll get a bolt started. It'll act like a guide pin. What do I know? It's just my jack is strapped still, so I'm gonna get a couple bell bolts started, and then we'll unstrap the transmission. One of the top bell bolts. Very important. I'm gonna distribute the weight nice and evenly, you know. I've got another longer bell bolt for this side. We're gonna get that one started as well. We're almost, the guide pins are, there's little pins that are gotta go in. So they're started, but if you're just a little bit off, it's a little bit of a pain. We're definitely into the clutch and into the pilot bearing at this point. I have a 17mm on a swivel and a very long extension. I'll give you a better shot in a little bit. However, we're going to go up there and grab this bolt. Hopefully you guys can see it. Doing everything by hand at this point. Good running in with the impact is, you can see it's in training. But at this point I'm going to unratchet the transmission. Well, you got a good shot of everything right there. I'm going to leave you guys right there for now. You unlatch them from there. Alright, the strap is now off of the transmission. There you go. I'm not sure if you felt that or heard it, but the pin's in. So now it's just the weight of the training. I'll just pull it in my hand. Make sure everything feels good. Okay. I'm going to go to the other side. Same difference. Just can't see. You can see everything pulled in nicely by hand, not forcing anything. This one I can run in with my fingers. I'm just going to run them in with my little impact gun right here to get us started. So here we go. That one's right in snug. At this point, it's just a matter of tightening down all the bell bolts. I'll give you a torque spec. Now, I'll get back to you once we start putting the some other things on. But right now, I'm just going to simply tighten down and torque all the bell bolts to spec, minus the starter. Now, we're going to take and put the fork in place. Into the clip, into the bearing. This boot will go on next. Nice tight fitting rubber. All right. Don't need any baby clutches running around. Definitely want to make sure you get it in the hole, you know. Might be your only opportunity. Don't want to put it in the wrong hole. You know what I mean? I want to get her all twisted up either. I think it's just gonna be easier to get it on here first, maybe. That boot is really a pain. I'm gonna make sure I'm in the hole. Alright, let me see a bolt in. Just tongue that down a little bit. So let's get this boot in there first before we go crazy. Might be too late for that. I think we're already half crazy. But that's debatable, I guess. Alright, that was a little bit of a pain in the butt. Try to record, but she's back together. Tight. Alright, next, I didn't realize the camera wasn't on, but we missed all that. I jacked it up a little bit, and we got a couple cross member bolts started. We're gonna start pulling the carriage up at the same time. Try to do it somewhat evenly, systematically. I think this is up far enough to pull the carriage up nicely. So it's going to be two different size sockets, if I remember correctly, a 17 and a 19. I'll look up the torque specs for the frame. Big socket for back there, 17. Hey, how's it going, Larry?
I just got home from Philly.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah. I come home and then I got a fucking emergency.
Oh man, it sucks.
Well, it would have sucked if I'd been home and then got the call. Had to
Yeah.
drive all the way back down.
That would have definitely stopped.
I paid for it, but still. Get fly with her.
Yeah. Yeah, Andy took it from me today. He called
And get it tomorrow.
yeah, so I called Valley. They're like, oh no, we don't do it anymore. Try tire place, Young's. So I called up Young's. They're like, oh yeah, 75 with the step plywood and it's 80. Usually we charge 120. I'm like, fuck. Wow. I'm thinking to myself, that sounds just freaking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could probably buy a plywood.
Yeah, they put it on a lane.
We're gonna slide the exhaust up in there next. Still gotta put the screws in for the shifter boot. Get that. I'll get everything up here and then I'll just work my way backwards. This one I'm gonna leave loose a little bit because I gotta make sure everything's in up top. Just gonna get started. We're not tightening anything up. Something started good.
No?
Oh, guys, good. Right.
Yeah,
At least
all
it's
right.
holding it there for me. Hang
Yeah.
on. It should be right. Should be that way. Try it again. I'm trying to think of two. It's gotta be right. Oh yeah, turned it on. Alright, I got, luckily the socket and extension stayed on, so the top starter bolt, I already snugged up the bottom one. And now the top one's snug. Torque to spec with the calibrated elbow. Click, click. Good to go. I can actually fish it out now, but as you can see the way I have it, and you grease so heavy. I don't know if you can see how I got it. Goes all the way down. Alright, so I got two extensions. I gotta get my socket in there. Alright, I'm gonna be reaching. Hopefully I get it from here. Oh yeah. Alright, we put this alternator back on. I took the bottom bolt out just to give me a little bit more clearance. I think it really did help. Let's make it one started. Alright, alternator's back on, belt's back on. We gotta do the manifold. Get that tight before we tighten the exhaust up underneath and the rest of the bolts.
We were walking upstairs, that guy and girl were walking through the crowd, trying to get through the crowd to the bar up top. That guy and girl were coming by, they were going down. She just stopped, kissed me on the lips, smiled. Her boyfriend yanked her arm and away they went.
That poor guy.
He's like, what the? Shame they had to put that heat shield on there.
I know,
It
right?
looked good with those pipes.
Kind of did. Okay, heat shield's back on. Second heat shield's back on as well. Everything's tight. Air cleaners bolted back on. Got this zip tied back the way it was. Phillips head screw. Hose hooked back up. Hose hooked back up. Hose clamps tight. Like I said, the shields are back on. Those are tight. Got the one bottom bolt, I still got to tighten up, snug up a little bit. Back underneath, just reinstalled the drive shaft. As you can see, I put it back together the same way we took it apart. We marked it, just in case it was balanced as an assembly. It's just something I do, it's a preference. Tighten up all the retaining bolts, torquing the spec. Plug the remaining harnesses back in for the O2 sensors and everything else that was involved. Tighten up the exhaust, go over everything one more time, look over all your work, make sure everything is tight, secure, and good to go. Alright, got the shifter back in, got the 3 bolts tight, boots back on. Next, this piece got the 4 tabs. Like so. Clips in. Alright, I got the insulation back in. Alright, console's back on, snapped in place. Shifters, knobs all back on, tight. Remember to, before you plug the connections in, before you plug in the harness, remember to slide it over to emergency brake. Alright, first start, not bad. Alright, here we go. Got a clutch pedal, that's good. Well, that's going to wrap this one up. Sorry I didn't get to take you guys along for a test drive. However, it has been a couple months. The vehicle turned out great. Everything went well. I hope it was worth the wait. And I hope not to keep you guys waiting next time. Stay tuned. Thanks again.